Hey everybody, it's Mike and welcome back to this Free Thinking Friday solo episode of the How Did It Happen podcast. For those of you who are here for the first time, thank you for coming. And I hope that you get something powerful out of this podcast. And for those of you who are returning, thank you so much for investing your time in me again. And I do appreciate it. If it is your first time here or you've been here before, you like what I'm doing, please consider hitting the follow or subscribe button on your podcast player and you will get every single one of my episodes directly into your feed. I do these solo episodes on Friday. They're typically short and it's something that I'm interested in, became aware of, I'm intrigued by, and I want to share. And on Mondays, I do a longer form conversation with people, very successful people from all walks of life, and we talk about how it happened for them. But most of all, and more importantly, we talk about why it matters to you. So again, thank you so much. And today I am talking about stealing like an artist. And I was inspired to do this, one, because I heard someone talking about the book Steal Like an Artist, which is by Austin Kleon, K-L-E-O-N. And it's a New York Times bestselling book that serves as kind of a manifesto for creativity in the digital age. I'm not sure exactly what I was listening to, but anyway, they brought it up and I thought, oh, I've heard about that book before. It's called, like I said, Steal Like an Artist, 10 Things Nobody Told You About Being Creative. And you and I like to think of ourselves as creative. I'm sure I like to think of myself as a burgeoning creative, and doing this podcast is one example of that. So when I heard that, stealing like the artist, and then of course we've been hearing a lot about AI, Bard, which is Google's product, and OpenAI's ChatGPT, which I've been spending a good amount of time on. I bought the $20 a month version that lets you put plugins in and basically takes the information from, the free version, which is September of 2021, and it extends it into today, really, and tomorrow, when tomorrow comes. It basically gives it the opportunity to search the web for things and provide answers. So I heard about this stealing like an artist, and I've been thinking about and playing with ChatGPT. So I sort of took the two together and I created essentially a top list of the most important things in this book using ChatGPT. And I will share those with you right now. Number one, steal like an artist. So what this does is it encourages readers to draw inspiration from the work of others and incorporate it into their own unique creations. And when I think about that, I think, well, almost everything is made up, but based upon something else. It's very hard to come up with a truly unique first thought. Really, it doesn't matter. I think too many people think that they have to, start and come up with this creative brand new idea, and you really don't. You can take an existing idea or something that's intrigued you or influenced you or whatever, and then you can make it your own. And that's what it means to steal like an artist. And I'm sure that came from millennia of artists actually stealing from other artists. Maybe not stealing their work, but stealing their concept, idea, and then maybe borrow is a better word, and then making it their own. Next thing, don't wait until you know who you are to get started. This suggests that the process of creating and doing work can help you discover your identity. And I'm a good example of that because when I started this podcast it's almost 5 years ago, I think. And I knew nothing about nothing. I knew nothing about doing any of this. I'd just been running a company for basically my whole working life. And I wasn't really on social media and I just had not produced anything. And I just thought, this is kind of cool and I think I can do it. And so I didn't, wait until I knew exactly how to do it. Although I did drag my feet. I will admit that. I didn't wait until I knew exactly how to do it. I finally just said, this is something that I want to do. And I did it. And I think the same track is available to all of us. And I try to keep that in mind when I go to try to do other things like develop my coaching business and make investments and write a book and all those kinds of things. So don't wait until you know who you are to get started. Next is write the book you want to read. This encourages readers to create work that they themselves would be interested in. And that's exactly what I try to do. Not always successfully, I will admit, but hopefully I'm doing that today with you. It's successful. I try to create things that make me happy which is the whole point of the Free Thinking solo episodes, Free Thinking Friday episode that I'm doing right now, is I try to think of things that interest me, and I hope that I can package them and articulate them and talk about them in a way that interests other people as well. And if it does, that is a victory. And if it doesn't, well, it still interested me. So I didn't really lose anything as a result. The next is use your hands. This emphasizes the concept of personal engagement, like getting your hands dirty. In other words, get in there and start doing something. Even if you're using your keyboard with your hands, just get moving. Next is side projects and hobbies are important. So you need, according to the book, and I believe this as well, you probably do as well, you need to have diversions, what I call diversions in life. You can't be working on what you want to work on all the time. I was just listening to someone talk about the power of thinking and how just plain putting everything down and thinking is almost like a lost art. And people think that they're thinking by accessing things on the computer or on the phone. I do that as well, but it's not really thinking. That's just exploring, but just being okay to relax with a hobby or with yourself and your mind is often the way that things pop into you that wouldn't have if you were focused on exploring and researching everything. The secret, do good work and share it with people. That goes back to sort of the don't wait. Do good work, share it with people. That's sort of like a Seth Godin thing that he talks about all the time, is get something out there. You never know how good it is or how much work it needs until it's actually out there and people are experiencing it. You also never know what people are willing to pay for example, until you actually put something out there. And you learn a lot more from having put something out there than you do from having kept it inside of your head. Next, geography is no longer our master. This kind of acknowledges that in the digital world, your audience, your customer base, isn't just what it may have been for a lot of your life, just around you or accessible to you. In the digital age, you can produce things, of course, you all know this, that can go and be consumed and influence people anywhere. Again, my podcast, it's not a great big podcast. I'm no Joe Rogan yet. But my podcast gets listened to in a bunch of countries. And who would have thought, right? So get it out there and don't worry about geography, because you will find audiences all over the world. Next is be nice. The world is a small town. I'm talking about this over and over and over again, that being kind to people when you have no reason to be kind to them is the very best thing that you could possibly do for your, mental state, for your curiosity, being nice to people, and just for humanness, just for being a human. It doesn't cost you anything to be nice to someone, doesn't cost you anything to be kind, and it helps, right? Because people want to help people who are nice and who are kind. Next up is be boring. It's the only way to get work done. And I definitely raise my hand on this because I'm boring. I am a person who is habitized or habitualized. I'm not sure what the right word is, but I get up every day and I do the work that I have to do. And it's boring, and it's to other people, and it's just, I do a lot of work by myself, and I like that. It's comfortable with it. It makes me happy. And I guess I could be a lot more experiential. So I could be missing something, but I find that if I do the work every day, or for 5 years, like in the length of this podcast, for example, I will get better, be having the discipline to do that work, or writing a book for that matter, which I did in November. My book came out in November of 2021. Ownership, How Getting Selfish Got Me Unstuck. If you have not heard it or heard about it, pick it up on Amazon or wherever you find or get your books. And then the last thing is creativity is subtraction. So the book says that creativity often involves simplifying and focusing on what truly matters. And I believe that. I am one that can get complex, add complexity in my life. And I'm sure you know a lot of people like that, at the drop of a hat. I overthink things, or I feel like if I don't know how to get from A to B, or A to Z, I got to figure out B, C, D, E, F, G, all those. And the fact is, you don't. Simpler is better. Einstein, I think was said, make something as simple as it can be, but no simpler. or was that Ben Franklin? I'm not sure. But anyway, simplicity is the way to make the biggest breakthroughs, I think. Those are my sort of ChatGPT summary of the book Steal Like an Artist by Austin Kleon, Kleon. 10 things nobody told you about being creative. So if you want to pick it up, go for it. If you want a summary of it, type it into ChatGPT or Google or whatever you like to put stuff in to explore and learn more. So thank you for joining me for this solo Free Thinking Friday podcast. If you like it, please hit the follow or subscribe. Feel free to contact me, mike@mikemalatesta.com. If you have thoughts about the episode you want to share with me, or you've got an idea for something that I could do on the podcast, I'm happy to get all of that and produce what you want. I am here to do good things, and my goal is to inspire and activate greatness in all of you. So until next time, please maximize the greatness that is within you and make your future your property, something that you are very proud to own. Until next time, see ya.
Hey everybody, thanks for listening to the show. And before you go, I just have 3 requests for you. 1, if you like what I'm doing, please consider subscribing or following the podcast on whatever podcast platform you prefer. If you're really into it, leave me a review, write something nice about me, give me 5 stars or whatever you feel is most appropriate. Number 2, I've got a book. It's called Ownership: How Getting Selfish Got Me Unstuck. It's an Amazon bestseller, and I'd love for you to read it or listen to it on Audible or wherever else, Barnes & Noble, Amazon. You can get it everywhere. If you're looking for inspiration that will help you unlock your greatness and potential, order or download it today so that you can have your very own copy. And if you get it, please let me know what you think. Number 3, my newsletter. I do a newsletter every Thursday, and I talk about things that are interesting to me, and or I give more information about the podcast and the podcast guests that I've had and the experiences that I've had with them. You can sign up for the podcast today at my website, which is my name, MikeMalatesta.com. You do that right now, put in your email address, and you'll get the very next issue. The newsletter is short, thoughtful, and designed to inspire, activate, and maximize the greatness in you.